Backstage.
Me hearing the music is irrelevant because the shells are fired before the appropriate point.
Right.
Shell, what is it? About 100 feet in the air for every inch in diameter. And the way most of the show design software, of course, everything's computers these days, works, is they will figure out the effect they want, and they'll have their music already, edited together. And they'll say, okay, at this point in the music, I want an 8-inch whatever, or 6-inch whatever. And the software will automatically say, well, if you want a 6-inch, I have to fire it back here.
Right.
And that's what I say. So if I'm listening to the music and I'm told to do the cue, I'm not hearing when the shell is going to go off. So for me, manually firing the music is kind of irrelevant.
Right. So you've got, ideally, you've got someone that's done that part. You're the technician making it happen, but you don't necessarily want to be that other guy either. Let him do his job. He's going to tell you when to fire and kind of the thing. Newcomers to pyro. I mean, there's got to be lots of kids out there and young adults that are saying, oh, man, I would love to do that. Just like when we were young. Do you think it's harder to get involved in it these days?
The licensing part of it is pretty much the same. When, again, going back to when I was young, when I first moved to Canada, the licensing was you took the course and you got your level 1 supervisor ticket. That was it. They did not have an apprenticeship system as we have now.
Right.
And you definitely need to have that, because the idea of, me being totally green, I've just taken the course and the next day I could go out and do a show. It's insane.
Yeah.
So I have no qualms about,
There's all sorts of little things that you learn on the job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
On the other hand, the fact that a city may say, well, you have to have a display license before you can shoot off consumer fireworks is all well and good, but they don't tell you, you got to pay about $150 for this course, and then you have to apprentice on 3 shows before you get your stupid license. And then we'll let you play with Roman candles. It's not fair. And that's why I said I would really prefer if there was some sort of a licensing program specifically for family fireworks, because there are safety precautions you have to take, but not near the level. I mean, I've seen video of a 3-inch shell blowing through like a 1/2-inch sheet of plywood, and there's some video taken at fireworks conventions where they will take like a whole chicken and put a shell in it and fire it off, and it goes all over the place. You do not want to,
Right.
There's a reason they say do not place body parts over the mortar. So you've got, let's say you've got, the eager young space cadets who want to come out there and learn everything, and they take the course, and then it's a matter of getting on a show and getting the experience. There are more opportunities now than there were when I first started on this. But that's mainly because there are more companies there's only, I think, 2 or 3 fireworks companies that are actually based out of Vancouver. There are a few others, GFA, Archangel, whatever, that have like a local rep.
Right.
So there are still ways to get on courses. Get on shows. You basically, it's sort of like anything. You have to get, you have to get your name out there. I've taken the course.
Welcome people contacting you for advice as to where to go and how to get hooked up.
Oh, definitely. The one thing I'll say right now is if you're under 18, don't call me at Halloween asking if I sell. Well, don't call me anytime asking me if I sell fireworks, because I do not sell fireworks. But I'm not that good at guessing people's ages. But when I hear somebody whose voice hasn't broken yet, and they're asking to buy fireworks, it's pretty safe bet. They're not old enough to buy them, even if they live in a city that does.
What is the age limit to get involved in this?
18.
18. Okay.
18. Yeah. Now, as I said, some municipalities you can set off fireworks for Halloween. Others will, but you can't buy them there, and others it's vice versa. There's also the matter of the permit fees. Some cities will charge as much as $200 for a show permit.
Right.
Other cities, I've been charged $1. So you basically
It varies.
It varies, and the requirements. So the first thing I say is, well, you have to take the course. If you're talk to your municipality, find out from your fire department in your municipality, city hall, the fire department, whatever. Just say, what are your requirements for fireworks? Or a lot of the cities now have their bylaws online. Go into a search on their site for fireworks.
Sure.
You usually see the information. It'll say you got to be 18. Whether you need the license or not. They'll have the regulations. If you're in doubt, you ask. Always, always, always maintain a friendly relationship with your authority having jurisdiction.
Yes.
If you hear pyro referred to AHJ, that's what that stands for. Authority having jurisdiction. Usually the fire department. Could be other people, but that's usually what it is. Always do not do anything to piss off your fire department, because it's a combination of things. Is you want to stay on good terms with them so that they know that you're trustworthy. They know that you can do the job.
You're representing pyro.
Yep, and that's the other thing to remember is if you are putting on a show, it's your name on the license. If anything goes wrong, it's your name, your neck, your license on the line. That's another reason why even if I was buying fireworks for use for a show, even if I had some to sell, I would not sell them because I'm not a vendor. And I'm not going to risk my license for you. I'm sorry. I don't care how much money you throw at me. I'm not risking my license because then I can't do it.
Yeah, and then I guess if you've got liability, that's why everybody enjoys pyro.
Yeah.
Everybody.
The other thing is you have to, another reason you have to know what you're doing is if you're dealing with your actors have to be comfortable. If you're trying to put a bullet hit on somebody going like that,
or you're rushed. Or anything.
That's it.
Yeah.
They're going to look at you like, "Oh, what the hell are you doing? You're going to put an explosive on me?" I don't think so, Tim. And you're going to have problems with that.
And there's there's that you're putting an explosive on someone's body. You can't sort of go, I got to explain this to another actor. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
It's their bodies. It's their comfort
the safety
level.
Meetings.
Upcoming gigs. What's on the plate?
Well, right now I've got Canada Day, and this is it's the same setup that we've had for the past few years, where we'll have two barges. They'll be doing the same show. One will be off of Canada Place. The other will be off of Ambleside Park. I'm not sure which one I'll be shooting, but we basically the barges are together at the mooring, and we have all the crews build both shows. And again, as I say, it's the identical show, just one's pointing one way, one's pointing the other way. Get everything wired up, and then decide who sits, who goes with what team on what barge.
Right.
I've got a feeling I know who at least two of the guys who are going to hang out with me are going to be, because they're sort of in my groupies, as it were, which is fine because they're good guys. They train well, they take direction well. Yeah. I know them. That's the other thing is it's pyro is somewhat of an incestuous community. Everybody knows everybody else, and the guys that you want to work with. The guys you don't want to work with.
Right. Right. Well, it's like any tight-knit group.
Yeah.
So
we've got Canada Day.
Yeah.
Then I'm working on Celebration of Light. Again, this is my 14th, being my 14th year for this. One of the things I love about that is since we work on every one of the shows, I can sit back and say, well, I worked on the winning show. It doesn't matter which one it is. Although the new format that they're doing, they're doing what's called the Battle of the Champions. So each year you have 3 different countries. So last year was the first year of this, then the second year, next year will be the third year, and then in the fourth year, the winners of the past 3 years will come back to compete.
Right.
So last year's winner was Italy. This year and next year, obviously, I have no idea who. I don't even know who's going to be in for next year.
Right.
I know who it is. For this year, it's the UK, Canada, and Thailand, which would be interesting because I've worked with both the UK and the Canadian crews before. It'd be good to see Brad again. I haven't worked with him for a few years.
Brad
Desautel from Fireworks Spectaculars. He's doing the Canadian crew. I did a few Canada Day shows with him a couple of years ago. That was the last time I crewed with him. And then I've never worked with the Thailand crew before, but I've seen some of the stuff they do, and it should be interesting.
How big are the crews typically?
It depends on the crew. Usually they're no more than 5 or 6 because it's more cost effective for them to hire a bunch of local pyros to work on it.
Right. Before we go and have a look at some pyro gear, which Brian brought us, what's your opinion on the tax structure issue and where that's all going? Obviously, there's stuff happening right now in town that affects all productions, whether it be film based or not, and because there's spin-offs, of course, right?
Yeah.
And the same crews are kind of, in both places and so on. So give me what's your feeling on that?
Okay. Well, I'll say right off, I'm not as deeply into it as others could be, like Chris, for example, because up until recently, I've been working a regular 9-to-5 job and then fitting the pyro in.
Yes.
So I've done my share of day calls, but most of the pyro in that, I've either been able, like, Canada Day, pretty much the same time every year, Celebration Light, same time every year. So that, my fireworks convention in February, I plan my vacations around this stuff.
Right.
So I've done a few day calls for film and TV, but not as many because it's a little hard to just, you can't call in sick and do that over and over again.
Right.
So as I say, I'm not as well versed in the depth of it as somebody like yourself or Chris is. The tax credit issue is definitely a concern. And I believe it's increased, the concern I have for it is increased over the fact that our currency is almost at par with the U.S. If we still had the exchange rate variance that we had before, we could probably still be getting a fair bit of production because they'd say, well, the tax credit isn't as good, but we're still saving money on, on the overhead.
Right.
But we don't even have that now. So if they're going to come up to Canada for whatever reason, and they look at, say, BC, and then they look at Ontario or Saskatchewan or something like this, then it is all about the bottom line. So if they can't find it here, they'll go elsewhere.
Yeah. And that's what I think we have to realize also is it used to, Vancouver, it still is an important part of film and what have you, but it's not as much anymore. And so we have to compete to a certain degree. So I think we're still, we still have niches, but we can't get too cocky with that. So I don't know what the solution is. I've heard many angles to this. But we need to get this out. We need to talk about it.
Yes.
And I don't think there's been enough.
The current government, I don't feel has really been listening to the industry. They've been paying it. Well, I can't honestly say they've been paying it lip service. Mm-hmm. The whole thing about we're cutting the tax credits, but we're gonna bring in the Bollywood Film Awards because we think we're gonna get some Bollywood productions in Vancouver. And it's like, why on earth would they come here? Mm-hmm. I mean, unless they have an overwhelming need to shoot the main library architecture or BC Place roof or some of this. Why would they come here? Because I'm sure the production costs over there are going to be a lot cheaper. Mm-hmm. Because if nothing else, you got to fly your crew over. Let's say with the Celebration of Light, it's cheaper to hire a lot of local pyrotechnicians than it is to bring over a full crew from Thailand or Germany or wherever and put them up in the hotel and all this, because that's they have a set budget for the pyro, and that's money that goes money comes out of one account, goes to another one, robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Right.
And I don't know specifically what the answer is, but there definitely needs to be more dialogue on it.
Absolutely. So I would encourage everyone out there, let's try and just keep the dialogue going in a positive way, and send letters to your politicians. That's how we communicate.
Yeah.
I would think so. So hey, we're going to have a look at some pyro gear.
Yep, I brought some goodies to show you. We're not necessarily going to set anything up, but at least give you an idea on what we use.
And I've had some images going here so people can have a look at it. But let's go have a little bit of look at that before you take off. And thank you very much for coming.
You're welcome.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure to me. Thank you.